Now, our first guest has raced wheel to wheel amongst this sort of chaos and amongst GreenEDGE's Stuart O'Grady and Simon Clarke, who also happens to be his best mate. It's going to be a nervous watching episode tonight as the mountains loom. It's a welcome to Australian-based pro Pat Shaw. G'day, Pat.
How you going?
Welcome.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to be here.
You've been in a number of national teams from juniors on upwards. What's your story through the ranks?
Just a hard tryer. Just someone gave it a real shot, and I was told I had talent, so I gave it a good dig. But I never made it to the top level. But sometimes that can be looked as missing your lucky break, or maybe you get an injury or something like that. But I've been really happy with the ride.
What about some time in Europe as well to really test yourself out against some of the best kids coming up as well?
Yeah, when I was young, I had a year in France, so I got to learn the language as well, and can speak French and Italian. I lived 3 years in Italy as well, and they were probably some of the most enjoyable years of cycling. But now, being back in Australia, I get to enjoy my time with the Huon Genesis team and develop young talent and give them the information and experience that I have to give them the best leg up in trying to make it to the Pro Tour ranks.
Are you finding that leading boys on the road is actually easier than trying to direct or coach them off the road, that when you're in the race with them you can actually show and lead by example? It's definitely a powerful place to have a position in the bunch to talk to the riders. There's no radios now unless you're in the Pro Tour peloton. It makes it very difficult, and if you're a tactical person, which I've always prided myself on, you can really change a race on its ear in a matter of kilometres, and that's something that we have a huge advantage on every other team in the Australian Cycling Series. We saw some wonderful footage of a documentary that was done about Nathan Haas when he won the Herald Sun Tour, and you were in that team. Yeah. A terrific footage of a team meeting with your director, Andrew Christie-Johnson, describing exactly where you wanted people to be, and you were saying, I need you here at this point, a little bit like Adam Hansen was talking about. It was a fantastic insight into your team. Yeah, look, you either like me or you hate me. I'm not the type of guy that's in the middle. I don't know how I feel about you right now. You don't sit on the fence with me. And I've learned that from the guys that I rode with Nick, I rode with Stewie, I rode with, I spoke to Simon Clarke before. We grew up together. You learn the hard way. We learned the hard way. There was none of this model coddling, cuddles after the race. If you made a mistake, you knew about it. And I sort of pushed that boundary a little bit with the guys. I wanted to know that it's not easy out there, and you got to earn your right to be in the professional peloton. And if you get there and you get there through our program, you'll be successful.
So, mate, how's the NRS? You busy? How many races a year do you do? Yeah,
well, look, there's 13 races on the calendar, and include our Asian circuit on that. And we're really busy as a team. We've got 14, 15 active riders. You got riders that are injured or sick. It makes it difficult, but Andrew Christie-Johnson does a terrific job in management, and hats off to him and Steve Price. They do a terrific job, and on the small budget that we have, thanks to our sponsors, we make it work.
So how do those races differ from what we see, say, in the Tour de France footage?
Yeah, look, you see last night, Sagan got his team to the front, let's split it, then we'll ride all the way to the finish. You can't do that in the races that we're in. You just don't have the physical capability. You don't have those riders with the experience or the age behind them, the maturity that it takes to ride for that long. So you've got to be more tactical, you've got to use your energy correctly and work towards your strengths. And a lot of the time you actually have to ride negatively, which is a disappointing thing, but you ride to get results, and that's the main objective.
How many guys in your team at each race?
Yeah, we race from as little as 6 or 5 in some of the NRS races in Asia, which makes it really difficult, because if you lose a guy and you're down to 5 guys, you can't ride the front to defend a jersey like they do in the Tour de France.
Exactly. They've got 9 guys and they've got 8 guys swapping off, and if you got one leading and maybe your other guy, you got 3 guys.
Well, you've got
riding.
2 GC options, so you've got 3 guys riding, and I think the greatest thing for our team is the culture and the build-up in the team. We all really do care about one another, and we like each other to succeed, and that's what makes us successful. That's why GreenEDGE,
you were talking about Andrew Christie-Johnson, your director, and I mean, when the team used to be called Praddies, we've obviously seen some extraordinary Pro Tour riders come from there. With Richie Port, obviously used to ride with them, and now Nathan Earle has had a great season, and he's going to stagiaire with them. Do you think that's a challenge?
Doesn't he, with Sky?
Sorry, Sky. Yeah, fantastic. Do you think that means, though, that boys are riding within the NRS to get results and progress, and they're not necessarily performing a role within a team because there's probably a necessary element of selfishness?
I definitely agree with that, but it's something that we've never possessed in our team, never since I've arrived anyways, and it's a passion that both Andrew and I share in progressing the young riders. And I think you can see that we've got riders in our team that could win any race. Any of our riders could win any race on the calendar. But it takes sacrifices for us to be as dominant, as successful as we are, and you see that in the riders that have gone to the highest level. Richie Porte is extremely successful. You know, he could win tonight's stage, and we really hope he does.
Have you seen a guy coming through that you think might be the next Richie Porte?
The next Richie Porte, that's a big one. He's an exceptional rider. I raced against him, and I've got a lot of respect for him as a rider. He's a terrific fella as well.
Not because he used to be a triathlete.
No.
That's not where the respect
well, I should take that back, shouldn't I?
Easy, Tiger.
Easy. But I think, actually, to be honest, Jack Haig, we've got him in our program now, and he could possibly go to the Commonwealth Games next year for mountain bike, I really hope. And I think he's the best pedigree pure climbing.
If I can just jump in, it was great being a director in Europe now. It's great to be able to follow these guys in Australia and be able to grab hold of the next talent coming through. You know, if you with a phone call from Andrew, and it's really good for these guys. It's a great opportunity.
You're really seeing it here first. In Australia, you're going to see the champions of tomorrow. And that never used to be. You never used to see Cadell Evans, those guys, they were racing in Europe.
Yeah.
Now you can do it here in front of your home, in front of your family. They can watch you and then enjoy you when you're really successful in Europe.
And yeah, a talent scout as well at the same time. Hey, lovely to meet you. Can you stick around? We're going to do the rollers in a sec. We need your expertise as well. Got some little goodies for you also.
Got a little bag there for you, mate.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. And enjoy watching your mates in action tonight.